Hello, and welcome back to the 2 Cents Podcast. I know that last week we promised you that we were going to cover our 2024 revenue, but we actually are going to have to wait until next week because I also mentioned that we were waiting on our accountants to send us the numbers back, and they just need a little bit extra time, which is a good thing. We want to be completely accurate. We want to give you the exact numbers. We're going to go over not just our gross revenue, but also the net revenue. So how much did we make after all our expenses? What were our expenses? What was our profit? How was our year? We're going to talk about all of that next week. But what are we doing this week?
Yeah, this week instead, we're going to cover our favorite moments of the interviews of 2024.
Yeah, I'm actually really excited for this because I feel like we've just been in full reflecting mode lately of 2024. Like, what were the best interviews? What was the most viral? What were the highest paying jobs? We've been posting a lot of content like that. So it's cool that we get to kind of show up here and give our 2 cents.
Yeah, well, because like I told you before, I think that it's really important for us to actually take that time to reflect on how that previous year actually went,
Yeah.
If you guys tuned in last week's episode, I said that I wanted to start focusing more on the positive parts of things. And I feel like with the look and the reflection on last year, it's very easy for us to pick up a lot of the bad things and hold on to those. So looking at our favorite parts of these interviews can really help bolster that little moment of us that wants to look at the good.
Yeah. And also, I don't know, some interviews we've had, I can't watch without a smile on my face.
Yeah, same.
I remember them. I remember the energy. Doing what we do can be stressful in terms of being on the street and asking people how much they make.
Yeah.
But it can also lead to just these beautiful moments where we love to share it with our community in the interview. But I promise you, there's nothing like being there in real time and having these people just brighten your day that way. So we're going to do 5 honorable mentions and then 10 of our favorite interviews starting from 10 to 1. Before we start though, I just want to say how this episode's going to run. So I'm going to link every single interview we're talking about in this podcast in the description below so you can watch the interviews and understand what we're talking about. But for the most part, this is just going to be our commentary, the behind the scenes, how the interviews happened, things you may not know that happened while the cameras were rolling, things like that. So let's kick off with honorable mentions.
Honorable mentions.
At number 5, we've got an IBEW union electrician from Boston. We were in New Orleans for the IBEW International Women's Conference that was being held there, but this electrician was based in Boston. She made a high salary. She was definitely one of the most viral interviews we had.
So she gave really great advice in her interview. And her energy was just amazing, stellar. Like you said, we had a lot of great interviews there. We met a lot of great individuals who gave really great context to how they made it to where they are. And a lot of them ranged in age as well as far as pay grade that they look at. But hers really stood out to me.
Yeah, I liked that. This was kind of controversial. Some people really disliked this part of the interview and some people really resonated with it. At one point, she said that she's got a bunch of girlfriends, friends, and of all her friends, she's the only one that doesn't have any student debt. She's the only one that I think has bought a house or something. Basically, she was financially on top of her shit, for lack of a better term. And I thought that what she said was nice because I didn't see it as competition. She wasn't comparing herself in a negative way towards her friends. It was just sharing, that this is different paths you can go in your career. And some people may have thought, well, that's not a very good friend, but I disagree. I think that that's kind of the reason for our channel is to share this information to help people make better decisions because we see a lot of comments from people saying, oh, I went the wrong career path.
Yeah,
you went the right path for you.
For you.
But if you had known something different back when you were making that decision, wouldn't that have been helpful?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Okay. Number 4, we've got number 4 on the list isn't really an interview. I don't even think they did the interview. They didn't share their pay. But why are they on the list?
Who's number 4?
High salary.
Oh, high salary. Oh my God, that was a great interview.
Broccoli City.
Yeah, Broccoli City.
High salary.
Salary's not her name, is it?
It does say salary.
It is today.
She don't know what's going on. I'm in an interview right now.
First off, I don't even think that they gave an answer as far as how much they made. But the interview itself, from the moment that we came across them, the interview was already, fun.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Whenever we go out and do all these interviews, like she said, it can be draining at times. But when you have people who are high energy people, who are very sociable as well, they just provide these great moments that make you keep wanting to do this.
Yeah, like I said, they didn't even say their pay. They didn't even do the full interview, but just their energy off the bat is one of my favorite moments. All right, number 3. This is another one. They did do an interview, but my favorite part of it was not necessarily the interview. We were at the Baltimore Ravens game. They were playing the Kansas City Chiefs, I believe, in the playoffs, and we had gone there to go ask people how much they spent on their tickets, which was a really fun
that was a
interview.
great interview.
That was and a great day. We met some really great people, including this individual who was there with his friend. And in the beginning, I kept this clip because I just think it's so wholesome. And I'm so glad that you were rolling the camera early, because sometimes you don't start until...
sometimes I'm lacking just a little bit. But
not lacking. You just start when you're supposed to. But some of the best moments happen
before the cameras roll.
And this was one of those moments, because I asked them, just to double check, because we were in the middle of talking. He followed us. He was excited. And I was like, are you comfortable with the interview? How much do you make and stuff? Just double checking. And he was like, yeah, I'll do it. And then he looks at his friend and he's like, he's got a business too. And his friend goes, no, I'm not going to do it. And he goes, what are you talking about? Shout out your business, fool.
Yeah, that was a great one.
What a good friend.
He owns his own business too, so listen, you're not going to do yours? No, I'm not going to. Shout out your business, fool.
Yeah, honestly, like a lot of people are kind of hesitant to do stuff like that, or like self-promo. We're pretty bad at self-promo.
But he gets it.
But yeah, his friend definitely understood his assignment. He was like, bro, I'm here to make sure that you be great. And everybody, we all need people like that.
For sure. Yeah. Seriously, I was like, what a good friend, because like you said, being on our channel is an opportunity to shout out your business. It's an opportunity to have a platform.
Yeah.
And if you have a business or something you're excited about, you absolutely should be on our channel and be transparent. Yeah. Whatever risk that comes to you, there can be a greater outcome because of the reach and exposure. So he was being a good friend.
Yeah.
Number 2 is a real estate agent, or a man who worked in real estate. He didn't tell me his exact title, but he was an older gentleman in Boston, right outside the hospital. And he was so cute.
Yeah, so we weren't in the best part of Boston, I guess.
Apparently.
But, we came across this older gentleman. We're always hesitant to ask older people because they tend not to say what they did or even acknowledge us at that point.
That's what it is. Yeah. It's not that they say no. They usually say no. It's that they're usually not very nice about it.
Yeah, but he was super nice, like a pretty funny guy. Like,
he was just really cute. Like, I remember I saw him and I was like, he looks like a man from Boston. Like, he looks like he's got the accent.
He did give that look.
He definitely. And I was like, he's probably going to say no. But the way I see it is, you have one shot. And the worst somebody can tell you is no. That's it. And you keep it moving. It's literally 5 seconds of your day. And if they say no, on to the next. But if they say yes, you get moments like this. And he was just so cute. You have to watch it. I don't want to quote him verbatim like I'm doing for all the others, but he's just so cute.
Yeah.
So cute.
Great energy.
And our number 1 shout out for honorable mention, we need to keep it moving, is a SPED teacher, a special education teacher from New York City. And there's one reason why she made the list.
Because she was so damn fly.
Honestly, damn fly.
She was, I'm talking about, like, her aura just gave off,
I'm a boss.
Yeah, I'm the shit. Yeah. And then, like, we ended up doing our interview. Turns out that she's a special ed teacher. We're very thankful for everything that they do.
Yeah.
But, like, she was fly as hell. I'm not gonna lie. I loved her jacket. Loved her style. Like,
yeah. And that's all you need to do to make the list.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into the top 10.
Top 10.
Kicking off with number 10, which is also in Boston. We got some great interviews in Boston. A retired lobster fisherman.
Yes. Never expected to be able to get that interview.
That was another one where I was like, this guy looks like he's from Boston. Let me just ask. I was on one that day.
He was an older gentleman as well, but that's because Boston tends to be pretty nice to us for the most part.
For some reason. Yeah, the whole mass hole thing has not come true for us. People are and they know us out there too. So if you're from Boston, shout out you.
Shout out you.
We should come back in 2025. But the retired lobster fisherman was just so cute. I think he made the list in my book because it was such a good interview to get, that lobster fishermen are few and far between. There's probably a handful in the world. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot, but if you look at the grand scheme, there's literally 5. But if you look at like how many total workers there are, there's only a small portion that are lobster fishermen. So very small pool to pull from, no pun intended, small ocean to pull from. But he was just so sweet and so open. And he even shared, he was retired, but he shared how much he made. Like his best year was like $250K.
Yeah.
And then he talked about one of the cons was the jealousy and rivalry. And he looked like he had some stories.
Yeah, he still had some stuff built up.
Oh, yeah. And it looked like he was willing to share for a second, but then he was like, I got to keep it moving. So
he's like, I can talk about the Henrys all day.
The Henrys. But shout out to him. What a nice guy.
Yeah.
All right. Number 9 on the list is a cocktail server and an exhibitions manager in Chicago.
Yeah, in Chicago, my hometown.
Mhm.
Super cool.
Why'd we go back there?
Because it's Chicago. You have to go
No,
back.
because your daughter was graduating elementary.
Yeah.
And so we went to Indiana, but we decided, we can fly to Chicago and then drive to Indiana. It wasn't a crazy
it wasn't
drive.
that bad of a drive. Yeah.
And we were able to get interviews, which included these 2. And why did they make the list? They were just so cool.
Great energy. Like right off the bat, as soon as we asked them, we love when we ask people and they immediately go, yeah, sure, whatever you need. Like whatever the questions are, yeah, I'll answer it.
Yeah.
They didn't really know who we were, which we really appreciated that fact that they were so open, even though they didn't know who we were.
Just
and
nice.
Yeah, just completely transparent, nice, like great energy. Like we're really big on energy, if you can't tell.
Big on energy.
Yeah, like super great girls. She even invited us to the museum afterwards.
That's what I was going to say. The exhibitions manager actually worked at a museum in Maryland, and we realized we're not far from there.
Yeah.
So I actually have to reach out to her again because we did plan on going there and visiting and taking a tour of her museum. But I remember a lot of the comments were saying that one of the reasons that they went viral is not just because they had great energy, but one of the girls looks just like this actress.
Yeah. I can't remember her name.
I can't remember her name either. But when people started commenting it, I was like, oh yeah, I totally see that.
Yeah.
But yeah,
but also because
cool
of how
jobs.
much she made as a cocktail waitress. That's
Yes.
why she went viral.
And she wasn't lying either.
Yeah.
Because I used to be a cocktail waitress and I made about $1,000 a week working at Le Meridian in Roslyn serving cocktails. Believe it or not, the location of your restaurant, the city, the clientele can be the difference between making $12 an hour as a waiter and literally $1,000 a week. So when she said that, and she told us that the key reason is because she works in the city in Chicago at a very like exclusive or fancy restaurant or something.
Yeah.
So she definitely wasn't lying. And she even said she had master's degrees that she doesn't use.
Yeah, that she doesn't use because of how much she makes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go her.
Good job.
Shout out to them. All right, number 8 on the list is a pair of retired workers that we met basically 5 minutes between each other in New York City right after we had filmed the Tamron Hall show. And the retired postal worker was literally in the crowd for the Tamron Hall show. Him and his family had been in the audience when I filmed. And when we went out there, because it was pretty close outside the studio that we decided to go do interviews, he stopped with his family and we looked at each other and he was like, I just saw you on Tamron Hall. And we just had a moment and it was the best. And then he did the interview because he knew what we were about.
Yeah, and his family stood there and watched and everything. We love when we can see that support in real time.
Yes. And then the teacher was right after. He's one of my favorites because, and this is something that you would never know just from watching the interview, but when I had seen him, I have no idea why I went to go ask him. But he did not look friendly.
No, not at all.
Not at all. Like, definitely the opposite of what I would target to go do an interview. I try to look for friendly people that look like they would do the interview. And he did not fit that at all. But for some reason, I just saw him and I was like, I'm standing right next to him. I might as well ask. And he ended up being one of the nicest guys.
Yeah, super nice guy, super open.
A teacher.
Yeah.
And his advice at the end was just so sweet. And I loved when the retired postal worker said that he got to watch families and their kids grow up. I thought that was really sweet.
Yeah. That's one of those things that like one of the hidden perks of a job that you never get to see, you know?
Yeah. They don't tell you on the job description that you get to be a part of people's families.
Yeah, a part of people's family. You get to watch dogs, grow up and stuff like that. Yeah.
Watch dogs. What about the kids, James?
Kids too. I'm concerned about the dogs.
Fair enough. All right. Next on the list is an urban farmer in Cleveland.
Yes.
That was a cool one.
That one, we actually went to this farmer's market that turned out not to be what we expected. And while we were leaving, we hopped back in the car. You saw them in the farm. And
they were in the middle of the farm just walking around, and we were in our Subaru about to leave.
Yeah. And you was like, I want to ask them. I said, okay. I mean, the worst that could happen is they say no.
Another moment like that.
We pulled into the farm, got out of the car, and
And do you remember that they had the urban farmer had a young student with them, and he knew who we were.
He was the one that knew who we were, and he was like, you guys should definitely do the interview.
Yeah, because I remember I went up to them, three guys just standing in a field. It was in the midst of becoming a farm. So they were clearing it up.
They were still like clearing stuff and like digging holes. So it looked
kind of crazy, but I remember going up to them and doing my pitch. I'm like, hi, so sorry to bother you. I know this is really random, but like we do these interviews. We're passing through Cleveland. Like if you all work out here, like it'd be so great to learn about what you do. And the younger guy looks at me and he says, I know who you are. And he turns to his buddies and he's like, you should absolutely do the interview. Like you should do it. And what a nice guy. And also, quick little Easter egg. If you watch the interview again, in the very beginning, up until like 10 seconds in, there is a sizable spider on this man's neck.
Like for real.
Like a big one.
Yeah, and he kind of just like brushes it. Oh my God, yeah.
And then he just brushes it off of him. Watch it again.
Strong-willed.
All right, next on the list is somebody that you all might know that we are so thrilled is now a peer to us, Morgan J.
Morgan J.
Friggin' J.
Loved his interview. How much do you make?
I make a good living.
Yeah, great interview.
So Morgan J, if you don't know who he is a fantastic comedian and musician. He's gone mega viral for certain skits. What's the one that he's most famous for? Look him up. You've definitely seen his work. He's amazing. The story of how we got the interview is pretty crazy as well. Yeah. Because I know some people have commented, I've seen it before, it's so random that you ran into Morgan J on the street, or how cool is it of Morgan J to agree to do this randomly? And I'm like, I know that 99% of our interviews are random. Like we actually literally do go up to strangers on the street. But for the majority of celebrities we interview, there is some background work
there
happening.
Has to be some background work.
I forget exactly how it happened. It was either something like he commented on a video.
It was a comment, and then
we saw. Well, actually, he followed us because I remember freaking out about it. I was like, "Oh my God!" Like this comedian that
my God!
I know.
Wow.
Yes, I freaked out because I follow him. Like we are just normal people. Friends. Yeah. Like when celebrities reach out to us, we freak out too. And I think he commented, or I saw that he followed us, and I was like, shoot your shot, let's ask. And sure enough, he was coming to DC like right around the same time to do a comedy show. He invited us to his show, got us VIP tickets, and he did an interview. Shout out Morgan J.
And the show was great too. So if you guys haven't seen Morgan J,
we're going again.
Yeah, definitely check him out.
His shows are phenomenal. He's on tour all the time, so he might be visiting you. He's also international, so like go check out his show. He's just such a nice guy. He definitely wasn't lying. His numbers were real. He deserves so much more. He was really real also about it took him 10 years to make money. For 10 years.
Yeah, and that's the other thing that people don't take in consideration when they hear stuff like that. They go, well, I've never heard of this guy. So they assume, well, you're a comedian and I've never heard of you. You're not making anything.
Yeah.
But the fact that he's been at it for 10 years, like that shows dedication. That shows that like, he is actually in this. This wasn't a skit that he picked up.
Yeah, literally. He's been working at it forever. Yeah. And also, sorry, really quick before we move on, if you watch the interview, there's this really funny moment. We were in the middle of the interview. What day was it? There were parties everywhere.
It was
it St. Patrick's? It was St. Patrick's Day. And there's so many people coming behind us. And at one point, this guy walks behind us who recognized both of us. He knew Morgan J and me. And he goes, how much do you make?
Yeah.
And it was just crazy. Watch it again. It's
Yeah,
one of our favorite
watch the video.
interviews. All right. Moving on to our top 5. Kicking off with number 5, a suit maker
Yeah,
in New York.
one of our most recent videos.
Yeah. This one's quick. Great vibes. One of our most recent videos.
Yeah.
We just filmed it. Be incredible.
Yeah,
That's
honestly,
all I'll say. Be incredible.
honestly, just a smooth guy.
Mhm.
Kudos to him. Kudos to his suits.
That's another one actually where somebody who knew us helped us get the interview because we ran into him.
Yeah.
We ran into him doing a drop off for a suit. Like he was transactioning something with a guy, and we go up to him because he had this fantastic look about him.
He was just suave.
Suave.
Yeah.
Suavemente.
Bésame.
But he was suave. And so I go up to him, and the guy he was doing the transaction with starts walking away because he was like, I'm not doing it. But he looks at the guy, Jonathan, and he's like, you should do this. You have to do this.
Yeah.
Sure enough, he did the interview and he went mega viral. So
Yeah.
next on the list, number 4 is a construction worker in Washington, D.C.
Great energy. Another one. He reminds me of my little brother.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I think that I like the interview so much.
Yeah, definitely.
But like, yeah, he was just a good dude. Like,
what were we doing before?
we were interviewing the University of Maryland graduate students.
Yeah, they had reached out to us to get some support for their hopes to unionize.
Yep.
We did the interview and we're heading back home. And kind of like for me, when I start interviewing, it turns a switch on.
Yeah,
and
you're like, I'm on now.
I'm on now, so let's just keep going. And because it's hard to turn the switch on. So when it's on, you go. And I remember we were driving through and just kind of looking for people. Like
No,
driving
we were
through DC.
we were walking back to the car.
No, remember we were driving through DC on the way home looking for people, going,
You're right,
different
yeah,
side streets. And we saw a bunch of construction workers and we were like, ding, ding, ding. One of them will do the interview. I'm certain of it. So we park the car and we walk back and we go right up to this guy who was taking a break. And he did the interview.
Yeah, he did the
was
interview.
the nicest guy.
Super transparent as well. Like, that's the thing. At first he kind of gave off this image of like, oh, I don't want to talk.
Yeah,
You know?
he was kind of teenagery in his response.
But then, like, as soon as he started doing the interview, he was on point. Like, loved his advice. You know, like loved his story.
Yeah,
And that's the thing that you guys don't get to see a lot of is like the conversation prior to and afterwards. And like, yeah, just a great dude.
a gentle giant.
Yeah, gentle giant.
What a nice guy. He's got great things going for him. And it also goes to show, out of all these interviews we mentioned, a lot of these people did not make the highest salaries that we interviewed all year.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it goes to show that you don't need to make a lot to be on the list either.
Next on the list is the IBEW Union Apprentice.
A lot of words.
Yeah.
IBEW, Union, Electrician, Apprentice, and
Yeah.
then there's a local 103. And yeah,
Yeah, all of those, all the words, all the caveats.
all the caveats.
Yeah.
But she made the list as an apprentice
Yeah.
because her story was amazing.
Yeah, loved her story. So I don't know if we got all of this in the interview.
It was
but-
long. Her interview itself was like 10 minutes. So the short form, sorry, not to cut you
No,
off
no.
really quick, but the short form that we're going to link below is only parts of it. But we have an entire long form video on YouTube that has the entire length of these interviews. So if you want to know the full story, go watch that video.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
And,
sorry.
Yeah. So with that, she actually gave us her background story of how her and her husband both wanted to be union electricians. So
Mhm.
they both applied, went through the whole, journey of trying to get in. She ended up not making it.
Mm-hmm.
Her husband told her, worst that can happen is you don't do it. Like keep trying, keep trying.
Yeah, he was like, you already tried, like try again.
Yeah, try again. And sure enough, she tried again and she got it. So like thanks to her support system, she didn't lose faith in her system of trying to get, herself some work. And it definitely worked. I mean, she loves what she does now. What, she's a 4-year apprentice?
She was about to journey out.
Yeah, about to journey out. So like it's definitely worth it.
She was making over $100 an hour.
Yeah, I think it's more so like that's the common trend is with a lot of these videos. It's the support system that you
Yeah.
have, honestly.
Once again, just great energy. She was so wonderful. You could tell she had drive and that she was really passionate about her work and proving herself. And
Yeah.
I just loved how she shared that her husband encouraged her to join as well. And even when he got in and she didn't, he was right there beside her, encouraging her and coaching her and helping her. And
Yeah.
I just think that's a beautiful story. And we can all learn something from that.
Power couples.
Power couples. No pun intended.
Yeah. Power
All right. Number 2 on the list, a flight attendant.
Yes, the flight attendant
Chicago.
in Chicago.
Mhm.
She
I
was
don't think she was based in Chicago.
no,
she was flying
yeah,
through.
she wasn't based in Chicago, but she was definitely flying through. In her interview, the reason why I made this list is one, she was another one that I wasn't expecting for us to get.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was like in her workout gear.
She had just left a yoga class.
Yeah, like had her headphones on.
Yeah.
And usually whenever you have your headphones on, that means you don't want to be talked to. But
she
sure
was
enough,
fly too, though. That's why I asked her. I was like, she looks good.
well, that's the thing too, is we know like good looking people helps make the videos.
But not just, I'm not talking
better.
looks. I'm talking looking good is how you carry yourself. It's not about traditional, blonde hair, blue eyes. It's about how you carry yourself and confidence.
Like Jonathan.
You
see? But yeah, didn't expect for her to say yeah.
Not saying Jonathan's ugly,
no,
though. Let's go back and say
no. I'm sorry.
Wait.
I'm saying it's how you carry yourself.
That wasn't a comment on your look at all. We're just okay. Let's move on.
But yeah, we weren't expecting for her to say yeah. She took her headphones off and was like yeah, and then sure enough started speaking, and she turned out to be a flight attendant, which we always want to talk to flight attendants.
And when we started the interview, she had a bag with her that right before we started, she turns it towards the camera, like she flips it. And I'm like, that's interesting. Like, what's that about? And sure enough, she was a flight attendant. And she talked about how she went from making, I forget the number, but it was, I think, about 50,000 all the way down to 25,000 because the airline that she worked for,
she changed airlines.
She changed airlines, but she was pointing out that the policy of this airline and many others is garbage. And it's not, and pay isn't based on experience. It's actually based on tenure. So even though she had worked as a flight attendant for well over, I think it was 5 years at least.
Yeah, well over 5 years.
She'd been a couple years in. She had switched airlines and was starting from zero for tenure at that company. So she was all the way at the bottom again.
Yeah,
so she had gone back.
Of the pay scale.
So she went down to making like $25,000 a year.
Yeah.
Terrible policy. I believe it was American Airlines. If you watch the interview again, you can see it's on her bag. All I ask, though, is that you please do not go on the video and tag the airline or, share it in a way that would draw negative attention to her because there was a lot of, she was very stressed when the video went viral.
Yeah.
It is actually our #1 most watched video of the year. And she several times was nervous and wanted it taken down because she didn't want to face pushback at work, which is fair. So all we ask is that you use your discretion. And last but not least, our #1 favorite interview of the year. I don't even know her jobs because she had 3 jobs. Yeah. An actress in New York City making $25,000 a year.
Working 3 jobs.
3 jobs. I believe she was a janitor, a photographer's assistant, and she did a ticket booth at a theater.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go.
You just have to watch it.
Yeah.
There's a reason it's also, I think, our 2nd most viral interview of the year.
Honestly, because the interview in of itself only speaks, a little bit about what it's like to live in her shoes. You know, like working 3 jobs to achieve your dream. A lot of us, we look and we go, well, I'm already working. I don't want to pick up a second job or a side gig to make ends meet or to do whatever. And like, she's living in New York City. It's not cheap there. Making $25,000, working 3 jobs to achieve your dream. Like, I'm hoping she goes everywhere that she ever wants to go.
Absolutely. And that was the majority of the sentiment in the comments too. That really made it one of my favorite videos is the feedback it also got, because I even was so nervous to post it for a little bit there. We were getting a lot of negative comments and really like hateful things. And so I remember I made a comment and I pinned it at the top of the video saying, we don't anticipate this, but please be kind. And oh my God, like, all the comments were kind. They were so kind and so supportive. And I think the reason this is one of my favorite interviews is because it also shows the spirit of our community in the comments.
Yeah.
And that we're all like rooting for each other. At least I hope to think so.
Well, because at the end of the day, we're in this together.
Mm-hmm.
The person down the street at the coffee shop that you go to, you guys are in this together. They rely on your pay. You rely on that coffee.
We're all paying taxes.
Yeah, we're all paying taxes.
Yeah.
Taxes.
Taxes. I remember running into her. She was our last interview of the day. We had basically wrapped up. We were just walking around and trying to see if we could find one more. One more.
Anybody that looked interesting. And sure enough, you see this little blue jumpsuit walking down the street.
I saw her janitor suit, and actually, I don't think it was hers because she ended up making a video and reaching out to us, and her name was different than what was on the suit.
Yeah.
And I think she explained that in a video. She did a follow-up, and she explained that she was like in the middle of going to lunch or something when she ran into us. But yeah, she was just wearing the janitor suit, and I was like, let's ask.
Yeah.
And she ended up just being so open to it, especially because one of the things that it breaks my heart a little bit, but when we do the interviews and people say no, something we've heard very frequently lately has been no, because I don't make enough.
Yeah.
Like people don't want to do the interview and they say, because I don't make enough, or no one cares to know how much I make. And I think that this interview shows that that's 100% incorrect and flawed, that we think we're less than because we make less. But she got so much support, and I hope positive attention that could help her career. So, don't be shy to talk about these things. It's the whole ethos of our page is talking about pay is good.
Because if you don't talk about it, then you won't know if you are underpaid.
Yeah.
You may already assume that you're underpaid, and that can just help validate that for you.
Mm-hmm.
It can also help show you other options because, like, you're underpaid. You feel like you're stuck. You don't know what to do. Like, there's always help out there.
Yeah.
You just gotta ask.
Yeah, there's always an opportunity. There's always more options.
Open your mouth.
Open your mouth. Spit out those numbers. Right. But yeah, those are our favorite interviews of the year. We hope you enjoyed. What a fantastic year.
Yeah, great 2024.
Yeah, we did a little over 250 interviews last year, so very proud of that.
Yeah.
We can do more this year.
Yeah, let's shoot for more. 500.
But all right, thank you so much for tuning in. Remember, next week, we're going to be talking about our profit breakdown, not just our revenue, our gross revenue, but also our net revenue, what our expenses are, what all our revenue is, all of that. So be sure to tune in, and we'll catch you next week.
Yeah, and if you haven't already, make sure that you subscribe.
Smash that subscribe button.
And comment. Let us know your 2 cents.
Yeah.
And as always, thank you guys for tuning in.
Bye.
Bye.